Yeah, McElroy and Cubic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You can listen online, jocksfm.com. App is in your app store. iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Watch us live on YouTube. Search Jocks945. Also, you can tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. All you got to do is take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. The deals that they have on the lot are off the charts. You will love the experience you have when you shop with Bill Smith. Andy Cole and Jonathan Yeager have gone above and beyond to continue to create great incentives for people to go up there and take a peek, like a 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. It's a 4x4, really nice trim level, $67,770 is the list price. You can get it for $15,000 off the sticker price. Like, their overhead is less because they don't have as much going on. So they also sell more. They sell more vehicles than anyone in the Southeast, so they can pass those savings on to you. So you are costing yourself money if you don't shop at Bill Smith's. Take the short drive to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, let's go to Craig Halbert on the Higginbotham Hotline talking National Signing Day. What team do you believe, Craig, has the biggest opportunity to make the biggest move here in this class starting today? I guess I have to say starting today on signing day because it's not all going to be done today, but who could be the biggest mover today, in your opinion?
Yeah, big moves are kind of tough now in this landscape because I think we came into today with like 9 players in the SC Next 300 uncommitted. So the days of those kind of big jumps down the stretch are kind of gone. I will say probably the biggest winner is USC in terms of with Jared Curtis flipping. They were kind of on USC's heels for that number 1 class, and I think the Trojans kind of got some breathing room to kind of we still got, again, this is just an early signing period. There is a second one coming up, but USC certainly looks kind of in line to kind of hold on to and sign the number 1 overall class.
What do you make of some of the late flips, the late movement? Like, what do you attribute to? Is it just someone deciding to increase what they're willing to spend? Like, what leads to all this going on this late in the process in some cases?
Yeah, I think, Greg, one of the things too is, there's we're close to right around 24 coaching changes. So that is really kind of accelerating things a little bit this year. It was a little bit quieter last year in terms of the coaching changes. So, but when you get these coaches that are moving, you always hear like you should commit to a school that you'd want to go to if you stop playing football. And in theory, that is right, but it's not reality. Recruiting is all about relationships, and now in this age too. You put the money aspect into it. Coaches change, new coaches come in. Players wonder if what was in place is going to still be in place, and they already have the relationship. And if coaches like those players, you're already seeing it with places like Auburn and stuff like that, where some of these players are starting to jump from like a South Florida to an Auburn. So there's going to be a familiarity, which is going to kind of ignite some more changes. But yeah, that does happen. I remember a case last year. I won't mention the teams, but there was one of the top offensive linemen in the country was headed to a school, and on the day of signing, what was sent over was not what was talked about, and he wound up flipping from a Big 12 school to a Big 10 school. Ultimately, things got worked out, and he wound up going in the portal and kind of going back. But sometimes, things that are put, as is many times in life, things that are said verbally show up on paper and aren't the same thing, and they could lead to hurt feelings or last-second changes to your point.
Craig Halbert, National Recruiting Director for ESPN, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Take us further into Jared Curtis. We had Rodney Nabulsi on earlier, and he was talking about him throwing the football and essentially what his arm strength is like and how impressed he was there. But in that offense, you're going to have some mobility. How is he going to fare when it comes to that, and specifically kind of the power run game that a lot of that offense is going to ask for as well?
Yeah, I totally agree. His arm talent is off the charts. He came to an event that we had last year, and he would just throw the ball, obviously just in shorts and T-shirt, but it was kind of some wow moments in terms of what he was able to do and just his arm strength and his velocity. But, you're right. It's an interesting fit because there's a few things with him that for Vanderbilt, it's a statement get. you think about what's going to happen after Diego Pavia leaves, there's an opportunity for him to play right away. He plays in, I think, the smallest class, talking about Jared Curtis, he plays in the smallest classification in the state of Tennessee, or one of the smallest classifications. And he dominates it, as you should. But again, I think that too, you could see a little bit of a steeper jump to college when you go into the SEC in terms of just the players that are going to be around you, the way the defensive backs can close, the way defenders can kind of run you down. I think that's going to take a little bit more of adjustment, where any type of high school to college, especially a place like the SEC, the Big Ten or something, it's going to be an adjustment. But maybe if you're playing in the highest classification in Georgia or in Florida or Texas, you're probably, you're probably feeling a little bit, or getting a little bit more of a look that you're going to get in college. So that's one thing to consider. But yes, a lot of what Diego Pavia did was straight magic. Jared Curtis is not that type of player. Now, to your point with the power run game, he is a big kid. He's measuring around close to about 6'3.5", over 220 pounds. So he certainly has the build to be able to do some of those things. And he's not a bad athlete, but he's not that type of athlete. He's a little bit more of your classic kind of pocket passer in terms of like his strengths. Again, I'm not saying he's immobile, but he's not the same type of runner and creator and maybe kind of pull a rabbit out of a hat like they currently have now. So they got an elite quarterback with amazing arm talent, but I think there's certainly going to be some adjustment how he fits in that offense.
But it sounded like, based on what we were hearing when we talked to Roddy Nabulsi, that part of the reason why he was going to Vanderbilt is because he wanted to start right now. But if he's at a really small classification, why would he want to play so early? I guess is my big question.
That's a great question. But I almost kind of felt that way about Dylan Raiola too. I thought that he would have been a much better fit at Georgia, just because I think he was an excellent quarterback. He was big, had a strong arm. I think he was a player who was better when he was surrounded by other great players. And he went to Nebraska and he's had some success, but he's also struggled because they don't have the same supporting cast that he would have had at Georgia. And to wait a year is a good thing. I think everybody wants to play a little bit, but play right away. But that's not always the best thing. But if you're Vanderbilt, you don't miss this opportunity, and you gotta sell that. But to your point, I think he would be better to wait to kind of go even at Georgia, where he probably likely would have had to sit for a year. I think at the quarterback position, you could probably say, Greg, I mean, you came out of Texas and then you had to kind of wait your turn. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And I think with that jump, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm just trying to put together pieces of, what you're going to see in high school as opposed to what you're going to see in the SEC, and that jump is going to be pretty steep. Maybe he handles it like a champ. I'm just saying there's things you got to think about, in that scenario.
Craig Harvard joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking National Signing Day. Just give us an idea where some of these new head coaches are in the SEC, you think. Who maybe be a little bit ahead of the curve? When you're talking about Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas, you're talking about Alex Golesh at Auburn, you're talking about John Summerall at Florida. Maybe who do you expect to come in, have an immediate impact? Who's best suited to hold it together? How do you view some of these situations that have named new head coaches here in the last few days?
Yeah, obviously, all things containing Lane Kiffin are fun to watch. And LSU, he's taken over a really good class. They've already had some fluctuations, some guys kind of going out, but they've also had some additions, like a 4-star receiver or 300 tight end. The interesting thing is there's been talk about whether like a player like Lamar Brown, the number one player, if he's going to sign today or even this week or wait till February. If some of those, the same thing with like a Richard Anderson at Nacar, which is a vital program within that state, if they wait to kind of see how things shake out defensively. So Tennessee's in the best spot in terms of where they were ranked and kind of what they got in there. Florida has actually kind of held together really well. They had a really good class, and even when they decided to make the move, it didn't fall apart like some other classes around the country did. So Summerall's coming into a situation where even if he just signed the class that he inherited, he's inheriting like a top 15-ish class with some good pieces in it. So I think if he could just maintain, which it seems like they're in a situation to do, he's in the best shot. At Arkansas, Silverfield has the most work to do, and he's actually kind of come in and went back out and got some of those guys that decommitted. Arkansas was one of those classes that really kind of crumbled kind of along the way. It was never like a top 20 class, but it was in the mix. It was a solid class, and he's gotten some of those guys back on board. And I think, you guys may agree, but I think Golesh at Auburn's in the best situation in terms of, maybe with the exception, in terms of having to go up at Auburn. There's a lot of resources there. He was putting together one of the better G5 classes at South Florida. He's already kind of plucked one or two of those guys. His problem was it was just a small class that got a little bit smaller in the transition. But obviously, I think if you could have success at Auburn, you could recruit at a high level. So I think he's in a really great situation in kind of the long term. I think in a short term, though, he's just taken over a small class. There's only so much you can do. So I think, LSU and Florida are in the best situations, even if they just maintain. I think Silverfield's kind of done the best job in the short term in terms of rebuilding a class that was decimated. And Golesh probably has the most work to do kind of going forward.
Craig, we appreciate the time, man, getting us updated here on National Signing Day. I know you have a lot of stuff going on today. Thanks for hopping on. We'll catch up soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Always great to join you guys. Take care.
There you go. Craig Harbert joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking National Signing Day. It does just feel different. It feels so different than what it used to be. First off, it doesn't feel like it all has to be done today. You heard him mention it there. A couple of kids are going to wait. A couple of kids are going to take their time. Don't have to get this done immediately. And the majority of it being now, Greg, is for kids to get into school early because we had so many early enrollees. They want to go ahead and be able to have the signing day and then, of course, move into your traditional spring practice with those guys already in school for the winter semester. So a lot of reasons it's changed, but it does not feel like the national holiday that it once was.
No, it's very different. And I think, too, it's not very fun. Kids are not choosing the school for the same reasons that you and I chose the school now either. In some cases they are, but not in many others. So you lack a little bit of the relatability to the person that's choosing. So I think it's time on the calendar is what's killed it the most. But even if they move it to June, which is what I think will ultimately happen, does that make a big difference? Like, do you think that's going to change very much? Does that adjust for like, are we going to care in June? I don't know. I really don't know. Because I've probably stopped really paying attention. I used to do the SEC Network signing day show every year. I mean, it would be like me and Booger and Craig Hobart, and we'd sit there for 6 hours, and it was a beast. It might have been 8 hours. I don't even know how long we were on the show.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean, it was a long time. So we were there all day. I mean, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. doing shows and games, and it was like the ESPNU, except we were SEC version. We were right next door. It was a lot of fun. It was really a blast. We had commitments and all kinds of fun stuff, and now it's just different. And I don't know even if it's. I always had thought, well, it's the calendar that's killing it, but I don't know if there's more in play as to why it's just not as fun as it once was.
No, it's definitely a little bit different and doesn't quite mean some of the exact same things that it did at some time. So a lot of different topics we've had today. GMAC, I wanted to go through a couple of coaching news and notes with you that we already mentioned and just kind of get your thoughts on it. Joey McGuire, 7-year extension, $7 million per. You good with this?
I mean, I don't know where he was going.
My question to Saber earlier in the show was, and he was linked to what jobs?
Yes. And he was trying for some too. Like I know that he was definitely wanting to be in the mix at a few places, most notably LSU. Who can blame him for that? But he definitely wanted LSU, and they didn't even return his call. So, I mean, I guess you get rewarded for doing a good job. I'm fine with that, but usually if I'm going to shell out $50 million, I probably need a little leverage to get there.
Kalani Sitake looks like he's going to stay at BYU. He's going to get an extension. And I want your thoughts on this,
That's
Greg.
Disappointing because you loved the fit in Happy Valley there. I know you did.
I don't. And we talked about this too. We did. We'll get to Penn State because we asked the question earlier. Like, what are they doing? Like, what? Honestly, what is happening? It is mind-boggling.
Amateur hour.
But this is the second report publicly, not directly coming from the school, so take it for what you will, but basically public knowledge that a school is going to put forth extra NIL money. And I just think it's interesting that we thought we were governing this to a certain extent, Greg, and now we have schools that are basically giving reports to reporters of this is the X amount of million that we're going to be putting up soon. Good luck with it.
I'm not sure what to make of that. I don't know what's leading you to that conclusion.
Well, Ross Dellinger reported that Lane was told by LSU that they're going to get X number. He had the number with it. I can go find it. And then I saw
25 to 30.
Yeah, I saw two reports yesterday that BYU is going to commit an extra 10 to 15 million in NIL money. I mean, if they're pushing it all through NIL, go great, like good.
Well, I just think in some places you actually can do that. Like for example, you've done a game in Baton Rouge this year. How many different commercials did you see? I mean, nobody cares about the Saints. Seriously, nobody. So, and no disrespect, John. Nobody cares. Every
he
commercial
is wearing a Saints
you look
sweatshirt today.
Okay, well at least they're getting merch money, but nobody cares about the Saints right now. And I honestly have always thought that Louisiana is more about LSU than they are about the Saints. And when they were great, yes, there were some people that came out of the woodwork and all of a sudden were fans. But I feel like the LSU Tigers are the biggest show in town and have been for a long time. It'd be like if the Memphis Grizzlies moved to Birmingham, the Crimson Tide and Auburn would still be bigger than the Memphis Grizzlies moving to town. Like maybe I'm naive, but that's the way it feels. And when I watch TV down there, every single commercial has Garrett Nussmeier in it. So I think at some places you can have, quote, authentic NIL because the brand is that big in that community. And I think LSU might be one of the few that can actually do that.
Interesting. John, more popular in the state of Louisiana, LSU or the New Orleans Saints?
Now I do think it's LSU because they've
When you say now, you mean like today?
Yeah, well, within the last,
not
say 2
not
years.
Not like this era, but...
How about historically?
Historically, I do think it's the Saints. I don't think in the heart of New Orleans, a lot of people cared about LSU. I think a good number cared about the Saints. I think the state of Louisiana, it was flipped. But in the actual heart of the city where people go and party and whatnot, it was all. I think it was always the Saints, and I don't think a lot of.
I don't care about the heart of New Orleans. I care about the state.
Well, you said if we're talking at the whole state, yeah, the whole state was an LSU state, and most of the rest of the state only cared when the Saints, did something starting in 2005.
So LSU would be more popular in the state?
Yes, I do think that. Yes.
Yes.
Greg's right about the ads. When I went to Baton Rouge this year, you see a lot more with LSU players than you do with.
He's their Alexander Shinara.
Yeah. It wasn't just him though. I mean, there's a couple other kids I saw. I know Trades Green had an ad for something that I saw. Harold Perkins was on a couple of things. No, Nuss was on a lot of things, but they also had the Texas quarterback in one of their ads. So make of that what you will. Maybe Texas is bigger than LSU in Louisiana.
Was that Canes?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, Arch is from Louisiana, so it makes some sense. I can understand why he would be there, Texas or not. But I think that at some places, I really believe this. Like, I think Alabama has an advantage there. I think being in a state where there is no professional sports. I think being at a few of the brands that just transcend whether there are professional sports or not, like being the quarterback of the Buckeyes, for example, like, okay, yeah, you got the Bengals and the Browns in town or in the state, but the quarterback of the Buckeyes is still going to swing a pretty big stick in the state of Ohio. So I think that at some places it can be authentic. I really believe that. And I would think Utah is probably one of those places, albeit the Jazz are massive. I don't know how the Mammoth are doing. I think they're doing pretty well as far as interest in the community. But I would imagine that the BYU program is pretty dang important to the state of Utah. And I would imagine that they can get quite a bit of NIL, authentic NIL, and do it above board. I really believe that.
All right. So, interesting. Google AI basically goes where John did. He said, it depends on the region, time period. College football often considered more popular statewide. LSU holding broader appeal, while Saints are the clear favorite in the New Orleans metro area. So overall popularity, LSU likely has broader statewide popularity due to Louisiana's deep love for college football, which has been a part of the state's identity for decades. So there you go.
I don't know. No, I don't trust AI. Greg might have changed my mind because of that.
Well, it is what it is. Tony in Douglas wants to talk Auburn. Welcome into the show, Tony. How you doing?
Good morning, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
It's Tommy. But anyway, I was just wanting to comment about the Auburn hire. And this is going to give away my age, but this has the feeling to me of the Pat Dye hire. I mean, nobody really knew Coach Dye at the time, and he came from a smaller school, and of course we all know how that ended up, but it just feels right. I think he's a good coach, and I think keeping DJ Durkin is great.
We will see how it plays out. I'm a fan of Alex Golesh. Said it on Sunday. We said it on both of us, Greg and I, this show on Monday. I wasn't around for when Coach Dye was actually hired, so I don't know what the exact situation was, how that looked at that point in time. So it'd be tough for me to make that comp. But I do think it's pretty cool that so many Auburn fans are positive about it, because a lot of times I think these opinions would be very short-sighted, and it would say, well, he's not a name that's been in a lot of headlines, so I don't like it. But we hadn't seen a lot of that. We haven't heard a lot of that. I think that's good. I think it's great. So we'll continue the college football conversation on the other side with this. We are asking the president to get involved with our playoff. Right, wrong, indifferent? We'll tell you next on Jocks. Steve Madrid tweets in, anyone do the spelling bee in 5th grade and you knew you didn't belong there? First round exit here. Word was colonel. Boy, that's tough.
Oh, that's
In 5th grade especially?
that also feels like that judge knew. It was like, all right, this person doesn't belong. I'm getting him out of here with this.
Selecting kids to be eliminated. Pearl got tweets in, I'm with Greg on the child stars. First thing I think about is the kid actually enjoys whatever it is they're doing.
I'm sure they do, but to what extent?
Yeah, we were at my in-laws over Thanksgiving, and my kids' cousins were watching a show. It was like it was similar to these baking shows, but it was like Play-Doh. And so you
Yeah.
had these challenges that you had to build certain things with Play-Doh, and then like it was almost like a little bit of Double Dare-ish. They had these obstacle courses, which again,
Double Dare.
even later in life,
you would dominate Double Dare.
watching this show, like the kids not being able to get into the pond and find whatever the thing it was they're looking for. I'm just like, are they even trying? I think I even said it one time to my son. I was like, look at the effort there, kid. It's awful. If you're going to go do this and put yourself on television, let's at least give a little effort here. Just barely wading through, like softly looking around. I'm just like, just dump all the water out of it.
You've got a whole minute. Like, come
Let's
on.
go.
10 of these.
But the host of the show looked like she was probably 12.
Mhm.
And I thought exactly what Greg was thinking. And I'm just like, who teed her up for this? Number one, how does she speak that way? Because, like, just perfectly enunciated every word, every letter that came out of her mouth. And I was like, it's impressive, but it's like, how does this happen? How do we get here? I doubt she went, to Disney Films or whatever and signed up to be the host of the Play-Doh Challenge show. But she got there somehow. So I thought similar things. You guys got to help me with this one now. David May tweets into the show, voice text is the biggest scam, and they say it's more safe than texting. Absolute scam. What are we being scammed out of?
I guess your voice?
I think I'm not worried about that. I just the voice texting thing. I mean, it deletes immediately, which is kind of nice. And like, I have some people that I voice text with that's all they do. It's literally all they do. If you send them a text, they'll send back a voice text.
But what hold on, what are we scamming though? Is my question.
I don't know.
What's the scam?
I think the voice. They get your voice, they get you saying stuff. Now all of a sudden, they could. I mean, it seems like a far-fetched thing, but they've got everything. They can mimic your voice now.
Oh, so you're saying they're keeping it?
I think so. Yes.
Wow. Hold on a second. I've never thought of this. And so they can push that into some AI something.
Mm-hmm. Which I think they may be using it as at least what I think is claimed is to make sure that AI is better. It's like, okay, this is how they speak. All right, so now we've got to
But
learn.
it's all stored under one person's
Correct.
name.
Right, pretty much.
So if they ever need to create a conversation
Yes.
of you with someone else,
Uh huh. Now, to be fair, they
We're
could
all
do that
screwed,
with
man.
you, me, and all
we're
of like,
done.
yeah. All of us on Jocks, I mean, we have all the podcasts out there, so that could be done easily. But now your regular Joes and Janes out here, it's just like the whole 23andMe thing. They got your DNA, now they got your voice.
Yeah,
You're about to be cloned everywhere.
clone. You're
Yeah.
like Tom Brady's dog. You're busted.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them having my voice. They can have that. I mean, maybe if you're not on the air, if they want to go get my voice, there's a place for them to get it. Cole, John, Damien. It's called the app. It's also called the podcast. We can't hide from them. Maybe others can, but I don't know about us.
They
That
got
ship sailed.
college football on ABC. RHYS is Reese, correct?
Yes.
Like Reese Hoskins?
I think so.
that's how he spells
Yeah.
his. See, I would have failed that. Like, what if somebody said Reese?
If they're asking people's names in a spelling bee, you're in a really jacked up
that
spelling
judge
bee.
has it out for you if that's happening.
Yeah.
Hayes Fawcett tweeting out, class of 2026 quarterback Reese Brush has flipped his commitment from USF to Auburn. 6'2", 190-pound quarterback has been committed to the Bulls since February. That used
What
to
does
be,
that mean for Deuce Knott?
By the way, that used to be one that I really struggled with. The R
What,
after
Reese?
the R after the B took me a long time to realize
Yeah.
that was actually there because not many people pronounce it that way. It's usually pronounced February.
Right.
So that was a little bit later in life that I actually realized that I was making that mistake.
Same thing with, we all say it this way, but diaper. It's IA, but we all say diaper, but it's diaper.
That's how it's supposed to be pronounced?
I don't know. That's how it's spelled. I mean, we say February, but we probably should be saying February.
See, that's where I need the origin of the word, what that means and where it came from. Because I don't know. I think that might help with the pronunciation if we had any idea.
Vegetable.
No, I've heard people do that, though.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't do that.
That feels a bit much.
Yeah. So here we go. I teased it before we went to break. We are now asking our president to get involved in college football. Yesterday,
He doesn't have that much on his plate. Let's throw something else on his plate.
well,
Goodness gracious.
well, how about this? Not only get involved with college football, but specifically this year's college football playoff.
Oh boy.
So yesterday evening, after the playoff rankings were revealed, Diego Pavia took to Twitter and said, "Real Donald Trump, make the executive order, please. Get us to 16."
Mm.
4 at-large bids decided by a computer ranking system. 4 SEC, 4 Big 10, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, go to 16.
Oh, so now we want automatic qualifiers.
Not only go to 16, but also completely revamp exactly how that's taking place. Are we for it?
No. But I respect Diego Pavia for trying.
I feel like he's playing with fire.
Listen, other things have worked out for him in the past that we
That's
didn't
true,
think
yeah.
were going to. He's thrown a few Hail
Why
Marys
not?
in his day.
Yeah, I mean, try it. I mean, I'm fine with him trying. My thing is, do we really need 16? Like, in all seriousness. Like, this year would actually be a pretty good year. Like, it really would. But does SC belong in the field? Like, do we really want that? Like, is it necessary?
I mean, I don't
You want
think so.
Utah in the field? No, like, I'm good with 12. I was good with 8. And to be honest with you, I wish there was a certain barometer. I wish we could come up with some type of barometer or like a point system where you have to have a certain amount of points to qualify for the postseason. Like if you don't have enough points, you don't qualify. So depending on the year, the playoff can expand and contract based on how many teams are worthy. Like this year, there's a bunch of worthy teams. I think there's 14 good teams. Seriously. And then if you include the ACC champion and the G5 champion, now you're at 16. So this year would be a good year for 16. But last year, go back and look at it. Like I am a Bama fan. That is my team through and through. Love them. That's who I root for. That's who my kids root for. That's the team we support. But even on my most blatant Bama bias would tell you, yeah, you know what? Last year's team, they probably didn't deserve to be in the playoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, did Ole Miss, who lost 3 games, did South Carolina, who lost 3 games and got blown out by Ole Miss and lost to Alabama, did Miami deserve to be in when they lost the way they lost to Syracuse at the end of the year? Like, probably not. So was 12 the right number last year? Probably. Like, I don't know. That's my biggest thing. Is like every year is a little different. And I'm still of the belief that less is more because it really makes those regular season games matter. Like that Miami Notre Dame game, I think by the time we get down to it is going to matter greatly because I think Miami's going to be in front of Notre Dame if BYU loses this weekend. I really believe it.
Okay, so I had a different direction that I wanted to go here. John, we have 2 more breaks. All right, so we're going to take one now because you guys thought the coaching carousel was nearing its end. You were wrong. They just hit the reset button, and the hamster wheel is back at full speed. Massive coaching news just coming down that will affect the Southeastern Conference and will affect a Southeastern Conference team going to the playoff. We'll tell you who they are, where they're going next right here on Jocks. Okay, a quick recap on some of the coaching news from today first. Then we'll get to the breaking news. Texas Tech extends Joey McGuire. BYU extends Kalani Sitake. They're both going to stay. Auburn is going to retain DJ Durkin as defensive coordinator. Vontrell Kings-Williams will be the D-line coach. Wake Forest gives an extension to Jake Dickert, Greg.
I'm surprised he did get some looks in this cycle, by the way.
He's been there a year.
That dude can coach.
They were 8-4.
That dude can coach. Yes, but he did a lot. He was very impressive with some of the circumstances he dealt with.
Well, yeah, he made
Washington
Robbie Ashford a good
State.
quarterback. I mean,
But, well, he won 8 games at Wake Forest, but he also was in an impossibly difficult situation at Washington State and actually carved out some decency.
Okay.
Like, they played
but
pretty well.
But
I'm
an
a little
extension after 1 year.
Yeah, they're probably getting out in front of it because guess what? He's going to be on the short list for a bunch of teams in the next 2 years. That's my prediction.
Cal is working towards Tosh Lupoy as their next head coach. North Texas is going to hire Neil Brown as their next head coach. Brian Hartline is going to be the next head coach at USF. We've heard his name for a lot of different jobs. He was in the mix for Kentucky. We've heard him for other jobs in the past. This will be another challenge, by the way, for Ryan Day, who's now had to deal with this multiple years in a row. So not that he can't do it. He could go out there and call it if he had to himself. I know he doesn't want to, but significant loss for Ohio State, Greg, still. I don't think the distraction part of it will affect him too much going into this playoff, but is that a good hire for USF?
You know, the one thing with Hartline, and I think he's done a good job with Ohio State this year, but I think the biggest thing that's worked against him, and answer me how you think about this, when he was set up to become the play caller last year, and all of a sudden Ryan Day decided at the 11th hour, you know what? Yeah, we'll add Chip Kelly. I think that's hurt him because clearly last year it's like, oh, he's not ready, and then this year they'd have a super team and it's gone well. But I mean, I'm just thought that he'd be in a position to get a Power 4 job this year, and it hasn't materialized. USF's a good spot. I mean, it's a good G5 program. But
well, especially when you look at what they have committed in the near future. Like they are going above and beyond.
I talked to Elko about this in reference to Klein. And I was talking to Elko, and he was basically saying, look, hey, the thing for Colin is, like, it's going to happen for him. And he's going to be a head coach. Like, we know that. But I think the longer he stays here, the more likely he might be able to skip a step. He can be Dan Lanning or Kirby Smart and go get that good Power 4 job, as opposed to, you know, taking a middle tier Power 4 job, and, you know, now you're in great shape. Like, did Will Stein skip a step by getting a head coaching job in the SEC because he stayed at Oregon for a couple extra years instead of taking a, you know, Utah State last year or whatever it was? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I think that's the question. And look, he's going to his alma mater. Like, 100% support that. But I'm just in reference to Hartline. Like, could there have been a scenario where he skipped a step had he stayed a little longer? I don't know. That's I think the thing you always got to measure when it comes to these OCs and whether or not DCs and coordinators and whether or not they want to take one.
Well, and Greg got a little out in front of it there. Chris Kleiman is going to step down to Kansas State. Pete Thamel reporting sides are in discussions now, under contract through 2032. He is going to retire, and now being reported that Colin Klein is going to take over for him. Apparently, Colin Klein has announced that he will stay with Texas A&M through the playoffs. Texas A&M's okay with that. Obviously, you would want him to be there with what you've done with Marcel Reed in that offense. He has done an amazing job. I think he'll be a great head coach. Obviously, him going to Kansas State, that's a place that, first and foremost, they just haven't had a lot of coaches in our lifetime to begin with. And he's been there. He knows it. He knows how it operates. I don't know if you could have a better candidate take over. I thought Kleiman was a great fit. I thought he was great for that job, his mentality, his personality, and I don't know who else you would hand it over to, Greg, that you could say would be better than Colin Klein, honestly.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. Like, and it's great for Colin. I mean, you get to go to a place that you care so much about. I mean, and while it's maybe not the highest paying job in the country, who cares? Like, you're going home. I mean, what's better than that? You're a legend. The only thing that's tough about the returning home thing, man, is it can spoil the relationship. Like Scott Frost going back to Nebraska. It's the only thing that always scares me with these things. Like, and then many times it works out great. Look at Kirby, it's worked out phenomenal. Look at Kenny Dillingham, it's worked out great. There's been a bunch of examples in which guys go and coach their alma mater and ends up being fantastic. But there's also a handful of examples where that relationship gets spoiled and now your home is like you're a pariah at your own place. And that's always unfortunate.
Here's the way that I've described it, and here's the way that I've laid it out. And I've had this conversation with my wife with certain things that came about years ago. And this goes for anybody who's going back to the place that they played, the place that they went to school, the place they graduated, the place that they love. Is at the end of the day, they're going to make you hate it. And I don't want that. I don't want to hate the place that I love. But let's be real with ourselves. How many people have gone back to the place that they love, and in the end, they didn't make them hate it? Kirby Smart's going to be the outlier. And that might even end poorly.
True.
We don't know. Because Florida State probably made Bobby Bowden hate them for a little while. And I know I'm not saying that was going back, but I'm just saying somebody who was tenured that long, did as much as he did, should have been able to end it any way he wanted to. Didn't. I mean, there's not a lot of guys. I don't think Florida ran Spurrier. I think he just decided to walk. So that might be one where, and that's why he's back doing the things he's doing now. Literally has an office there. There are not many instances when you go back to the place that you love so much, that you put so much into, that you want to take your family to for the rest of your life. And maybe this will be the advantage with, like, not the next cycle, but the next cycle of coaches, because they can go to a place they played and then hate it, and then go coach at the other place they played.
Oh, yeah, transfer.
And then the other place they coach.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay if I burn this bridge. I played at two other places.
Right.
Go coach there next. But that's the way that I've always thought of it, Greg, is there is a much better chance that in the end, they're going to find a way to make you hate it than help you love it forever. And that's tough, man. That's tough.
It's very tough.
I cannot imagine getting fired from a place that I put so much into and it ending poorly. Just the emotions that would go along with that would not be fun to manage, I can imagine.
No, I think it'd be hard, but I also think, like, what type of person wouldn't welcome the challenge? Like, what if it does work? You know, what if for whatever reason you can make it happen? I mean, there'd be no greater satisfaction professionally than to go to your alma mater and make it happen. And that would be the greatest thing ever, because not only as a fan are you fired up, but professionally you're fulfilled as well. So I'd welcome that challenge. And if they offered me the head coaching job at Alabama, I would take it tomorrow. Immediately. Or any job on staff at Alabama. I would, well, I don't know if I'd want to raise kids in a coaching environment, but if for whatever reason that opportunity ever came available, I would strongly consider it, because it means that much to me. And if I failed, but at least I knew I gave it my best shot, and hopefully the people of Alabama would forgive me for failing in the event in which that happened. But you're right, it's a fear. But I don't think the guys that are wired in this profession for the top, I don't think they're wired to shy away from challenges and or possible downfalls. None of them are thinking about their own failures. They're thinking about, what can I do to make it work? They're solutions finders, and I respect them for that.
So there will be challenges with it. There are always different challenges that come with it. And no, I'm not saying Colin Klein shouldn't do this, by the way. Absolutely. You go do it. You take it. This opportunity is not going to come along especially there. I mean, I think we've had 4 Kansas State head coaches in my lifetime. Is that right?
I'm trying to think. Well, you had, obviously, there was one guy in between Snyder, right? And then it was Kleiman. So you have 4.
Yeah, Ron Prince.
Ron Prince, that's who it was. But he was the only other guy, right? There wasn't
there
someone
would have been
between
like
Snyder and
a
Kleiman, right?
Stan Parrish and Lee Moon when I was didn't know what college football was.
Don't act like Jim
Phil,
Dickey
Yeah.
wasn't.
Oh, Lee Moon.
Jim Dickey was in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellis Rainsberger.
Oh, he was tough.
Bus
Ellis
Murtis.
Rainsberger.
Bus Murders?
Bus Murtis. It's
Legend.
15 and 34. Not a legend for the right
No.
reasons.
It was before. He was running against Swanee teams. And
Well, you
stuff.
talk about some tough times. This might put Bill Snyder in a new light here.
Yeah, they. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hold on. How far do I have to go back for these miserable records? Pappy Waldorf, by the way.
Oh,
He
Pappy.
was 7-2 back in 34. Okay, Hobbs Adams, 4-21. Ward Haylett, 6-20.
Oh, boy.
Lud Fisser, 1-7. Sam Francis, 0-10. Ralph Graham, 4-26. Bill Meek, 14-24. Bus Murders, 15-34. Doug Weaver, 8-60.
God
Who let
almighty.
him stay?
God almighty.
Vince Gibson, 33-52. Ellis Rainsberger, 6-27. Jim Dickey, 24-54.
Oh, it was bad.
Lee Moon, 1-8. Stan Parrish,
Could you imagine getting
2-30.
You,
2
could
and
you
30.
imagine
2
getting
and 30.
Could you imagine getting 78 games nowadays?
Man.
And having a record 30 games below 500?
Ooh,
No.
ooh.
Stan Parrish is holding on to those 2 wins. Yeah, but we got Kansas that first year.
It ain't gonna get
This
any
is how
better.
bad it was. Hob Adams was there for 2 years, went 4-12. They hired someone else, and then someone else, then brought Hobbs Adams back. Then he went 0-9.
We won 4 last time. It can't get worse.
get any
Well,
worse.
it did. And then here comes Bill Snyder, 215-117.
What year did Bill Snyder get there?
1989 is his first year.
That was his
I was
first
about to
year.
say 90, 89, yeah.
89-05, and then 2009-18. I mean, Ron Prince, 17-20. So Chris Kleiman's 48-28 should look pretty good.
He is, yeah.
Oh,
built the
heck,
statue.
Pretty
Kleiman
good.
can go now.
Built the
He
statue.
can go. I think it's the hardest job. I'm not kidding when I tell you this. I think it's one of the hardest jobs in America.
Kansas State.
You have very little in-state talent. You are in the middle, and I mean, I'm talking. It is 2 hours from Kansas City, and it's not like there's some ridiculous amount of talent in Kansas City. They do have money. They do have money there, but I don't know. I think it's a hard job, man.
I will say, like, the early 1900s weren't bad. Had some before Pappy got there and ruined it. Charlie Bachman, 33-23. Bo McMillan, 29-21.
Okay.
Zora Clevenger, 19-9. But yeah, then
tough.
it went downhill in a hurry.
Pappy.
Sam Francis, 0-10. Whew. All right, we'll be back with more next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Kubik in the morning. Appreciate you guys being with us. It's a quickly update. Chris Kleiman going to step down at Kansas State, which, looking back on it now, I think you have to have an even greater appreciation for what he did, 48-28 at Kansas State.
It's crazy.
Pretty impressive run.
Especially in an era when it was not easy. Very.
No, 100%. And maybe, I don't know if I could have a greater appreciation for Bill Snyder at Kansas State, but I think now I do.
Yeah.
Name the whole city after him. Just give him everything. All right, Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group want to help you get into a new home today. Why can they do that? Well, they serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. You can trust their aggressive and proven selling system. Gusty invests thousands into the latest tools like social media photographers and more. Over 850 five-star Google reviews. Brokered by eXp Realty. Call 205-542-1996. 205-542-1996 today. Or go to GustyGoulasGroup.com to see what they can do for you. Gusty Goulas Group has helped my family. They can help yours. Go to GustyGoulasGroup.com today or call 205-542-1996. All right, thanks for tuning in today. When we come back tomorrow, we begin to get you set for Championship Saturday. Championship game Friday night. A lot of college football still to come. We'll take another look at the playoff field. What could possibly change this weekend? All that and more, 7 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. But three-man front's coming to you next right here on Jock